What's going on, everybody? This is the NC Shooter. Did a video earlier this week on this Mosin Nagant I got. It turned out to be a Finish M27. Had a little discussion with some guys about this stock here. If you'll look, you can see a line that goes all the way up here. When I got the gun, you can go back to that earlier video I did. There's a little story behind it. I was told the stock had been cracked for years. I brought it home and looked at it, and sure enough, I said the stock is cracked all the way up. On both sides, you can see a very distinct, what looks to be a crack in the rifle. Well, after talking with some guys and honestly pulling this butt plate off, I realized when I pulled this butt plate off and seen the way it was attached, the way the bottom piece here was attached to this, I realized that it wasn't a crack. It don't really look like it could have been refurbished this way. It looks like it was factory done. Don't know how good you're going to be able to see this, but you see those lines? You look at that cut. Alright, camera. You look at that cut on this buttstock. The way it goes over and then back up at that angle, that sharp angle it comes back up at. There we go. Over, up at that angle. I mean, that's not something you're gonna do with a solid piece of wood. I really believe that was done. They may have ground that out. I was told it was done to help it keep from warping. I don't know, but that's what I was talking about in that first video. So there you go. I don't know what the F stands for, but that is on the bottom piece of the rifle. But there you go, guys. Some guys wanted to see that. Well, a bunch of people told me that now that I had my first Mosin here, that I better go ahead and be prepared that I was going to be addicted. And I guess they were right. Let me get this gun put up on the rack and we'll take a peek at it. Okay, this is my new Mosin. New to me anyway. It's a little different than the other one. First glance at this, there's also a little story behind this one. If you watched the first video, you'll know why I'm telling you this. Posted a video on that rifle. About 2 days later, my cousin calls me up. Pretty much my neighbor. He stays about a quarter mile down the road from me. Says, man, I got an old war rifle propped up in the barn out behind the house. Let's go take a look at it and see what it is. I'm not sure what it is. So I go up there and this is what I found. Hex receiver. SA, which stands for Finish. I guess I'm just lucky that way. This was propped up in the corner of his barn. And it was in really bad shape. Apparently it had been propped up in that barn for years. I had to take a hammer. After allowing this to soak for a little while in some CLP, I took a hammer and got this bolt to come up. Now it's smooth as butter. I mean, it'll fall open. I did a little bit of work, got it cleaned up. The bore looks decent. It did take a while to clean it up now. I mean, I worked for probably 2 hours on this rifle just cleaning the bolt and inside the chamber and the bore. But as you can see, this rifle's a little different. There's no rear sight on it, no front sight. Looks like the wood's been cut and sanded. Okay, it's in real good condition. The wood is finish-wise. First thing I noticed when I picked up this rifle, this hexed receiver on my other Mosin, you can really, this may not make any sense. I'm gonna try to compare them, but you can really see the heavy lines in my other Mosin's hexed receiver, where it don't look like it's been wore down very much. The straight edges are a lot sharper, and on this one they're a lot more rounded out, like it's been used, like it's been really used and abused. I get to looking down here trying to see where I'm assuming somebody has sanded off the rear sight, and I don't see any markings that tell me there was a sight there that somebody shaved off. Now you see that one mark here, but it's a little, I think it's a little too high up on the barrel to be a pin mark. but there's not one over here on the adjoining side. So I'm really confused about this rear sight deal. Another thing that confuses me is because this barrel, if the rear sight had been taken down and sanded, it would have had to been re-blued or whatever to match this finish. Well, I'm looking and it blends in pretty well. You have to excuse my lighting here. I've got every light on I can get on. But the color really blends in. It's really hard to see if it was ever there. I'm sure it had to have been, but I don't know enough about these rifles to know for sure. No front sight. I'm assuming somebody had sawed the barrel off. There is a slight crown on that barrel. Not much. I know my camera sucks. There we go. Slight crown on that barrel. So apparently whoever done this had it done professionally, or it was done like that when it was made. I'm going to show you some of the markings on this rifle. Hoping some of my buddies on here can give me an idea of what I got here. Top of the bolt there, you got that T with a circle around it, or what looks to be a T. There is your triangle with the arrow. I could get back on YouTube and tell you what that is, but there's 1929 and some kind of a marking over here beside it. Okay, we've seen the SA over here. I may have to get a flashlight to get some of these others. Well, nope. There's that, whatever that is. I'm trying to be as steady as I can. Not sure what that is. Let me get around to the other side here. Excuse my camera work. This is where I may need the flashlight. What looks to be a 4 and a 1 maybe. Some kind of, I don't know. And then whatever that is. I know nothing about these rifles, guys. It's been a week now since I got my first one. I've already got a second one. I ended up giving the guy 40 bucks for this rifle here. I didn't think 40 bucks was a bad price. The shape it was in, it was kind of rough. But I really intentionally bought it for parts. But the more I look at it, the more I believe I want to get me a bent bolt handle and a rail and put on it and see if it'll be good for a deer rifle. I'm kind of, I'm going to have to drill and tap this thing. I'm not sure how that's going to work. I'm not a machinist. Many of you guys have done the bent bolt handle from ATI and the scope mount from ATI with the drill bits and the tap they send you. Let me know how that does. I mean, I've looked at a lot of reviews. Some guys say they're good. Some guys say, just like the bolt handle, they say one bolt's not enough. If you have to actually slap that bolt to get anything to work, there's a possibility you'll break the screw off that you've screwed inside on your threads, and then you got to screw the screw out they send you, which will be tough. But yeah, if you've messed with the drilling and tapping on these things, let me know. What do you think? Is it too much to do? Not really a lot of gunsmiths in my area I can take this thing to. I do believe somebody has cut and sanded this stock. See if I can get you a picture of that. Yeah, you can see the lines in it where it looks like sanding marks. So I do believe somebody has cut and sanded that stock. But they did a decent job. The finish on the rifle looks good. I like the size. I mean, it's a real good size. Comparing it with my Remington 700, my hunting rifle, there's not a lot of difference in length. I believe with a good scope and a decent bolt handle put on this thing that will allow me to put a scope on there, I believe I'll have a good little hunting rifle that I can take and beat around in the woods with. But guys, if you know anything about them markings on this gun, give me an idea. A little bit I know, the SA stands for it being finish, a finish rifle. And I know the hex receiver is supposed to be a little bit better than the round receivers, but that's about the extent of my knowledge. I do know that this rifle here is an M27. I learned that on that first video I posted. If you want to see anything about that, go check out that first video. Yeah, you seen the stock in the beginning, the way it was cut. Some of you guys wanted to see that. My second Mosin. It only took a week, guys. I'm already addicted, I guess. Excuse the poor camera work. Kind of hard doing it by myself without a tripod to get you a good look at this thing. But I appreciate you watching. If you have any clues on what this is, leave me some comments. It'll really help me out a lot. We'll see you guys on the next one.